Most of us have stood in front of a mirror in an outfit that was well put together. The color worked, the fit was good, the pieces were thoughtfully chosen, and yet it somehow felt flat. Or we've walked into a beautifully furnished room and admired it without really feeling drawn to it. Or we've sat down at a carefully set table and recognized the effort behind it, but couldn't quite explain why it didn't feel memorable. The difference is subtle, but once you notice it, you begin to see it everywhere. It's the difference between something that appears correct and something that feels alive, between a composition that is pleasant and one that has depth, between what feels one-dimensional and what feels rich, layered, and endlessly interesting. Most people sense that difference without being able to name it, but elegant women often understand it instinctively. And once you learn to recognize it, you'll start noticing it everything from the way people dress to the way they speak, decorate, host, and move through the world. Welcome back to Gracefully Lori. I'm Lori. If you're new here, this channel is for women who want to live authentically, express themselves with intention, and move through the world with quiet, modern grace. Today, I want to talk about something that underpins elegance across most areas of life. Wardrobe, home, table, even the way you communicate. It's the element nobody really talks about, and understanding it changes how you see everything. That element, believe it or not, is texture. And today, I'll walk you through the role texture plays in 4 areas of our lives. So, when most people hear the word texture, they think of how something feels, the roughness of the linen, the softness of the cashmere, the smoothness of polished stone. And that's part of it. But texture is more than touch. Texture is the perceived surface quality of a material, how it catches light, how it creates shadow, how it absorbs and reflects what's around it. A matte surface pulls light inward and creates warmth. A glossy surface throws light back and creates sharpness. A rough surface scatters light and creates depth. These are not just tactile qualities, they are visual ones. The opposite of texture isn't simplicity, it's flatness. A flat composition, whether it's an outfit, a room, or a table, is forgettable. It holds a single note without variation. Our eyes move through it quickly because there's nothing to discover, nothing that changes as the light shifts or as we look more closely. Flatness is the reason a beautifully colored room can still feel lifeless. It's the reason an all-black outfit can look dull rather than chic. It's the reason a carefully arranged table can fail to feel special. Texture is what gives a composition depth. It's what makes the eyes want to stay and explore. It's what actually creates the feeling of richness. So, area 1, texture in what you wear. Sometimes there's a frustration that comes with a monochromatic outfit, all black, all cream, all navy, that just doesn't come together the way you imagined. The color is right, the pieces are well made, and still it falls flat. Almost always the missing element is textural contrast. The woman whose monochromatic dressing consistently looks intentional and thought through understands something specific. When you limit color, texture becomes the composition. It carries all the visual interest that color would otherwise provide. Without it, the outfit has nothing to work with. Think about what happens when you pair a soft, matte cashmere sweater with a smooth, slightly lustrous silk skirt. The cashmere absorbs light, the silk reflects it. One pulls the eye inward, the other sends it outward. That contrast is interesting, not because either piece is extraordinary on its own, but because together they create something more interesting than either could alone. The same principle holds across any combination. A structured wool coat over a fluid silk blouse, rugged denim with a delicate knit, a leather jacket over soft cotton. In each case, the textures are complementing each other, which makes the outfit feel deliberately composed rather than simply assembled. This is the heart of dressing with genuine quality. The focus shifts away from logos, from labels, from visible markers of expense, and towards the materials themselves and how they relate to each other. A considered combination of textures communicates sophistication more quietly and more credibly than any brand ever could. Texture is the composition, color is just the palette. Area 2, texture in your home. The homes that feel genuinely alive, that feel layered and collected and warm, almost always have one thing in common: a deliberate range of surfaces that complement each other. Not matched, not coordinated into uniformity, simply complementary. Imagine a living room where a smooth leather chair sits beside a sofa in soft matte fabric. A rough marble coffee table anchors the center of the space. Silk curtains move with the light, fluid and slightly luminous against the stillness of the walls. A plush rug introduces warmth and weight. Each surface interacts with light differently. Each one changes as the day shifts. Together, they create a room that feels different in the morning than it does in the evening, different in lamplight than in daylight. At all times of day, from all angles, the room has visual interest so it never feels flat. Textural depth is not expensive to achieve. It requires intention more than investment. So the question to ask in any room is not whether the pieces match, but whether they offer enough variation, enough contrast between hard and soft, rough and smooth, matte and reflective, to give the eye somewhere to rest and somewhere to travel. Texture is what makes a space feel inhabited rather than just arranged. Area 3, texture while hosting. Elegant entertaining has always been understood as an art, but rarely as a sensory one. The most considered tables are not simply beautiful to look at. They are composed to be experienced. And texture is how that experience is built. Think about what's already present on a well-laid table. The lustrous quality of a bone china plate, the cool precision of polished silverware, the softness of a linen napkin, the clarity of glass catching candlelight. Each surface is distinct. Each one reflects the light differently. Together, they create a composition that engages the eye before a single guest has arrived. And it extends to everything placed on the table. A cheese plate where a soft brie sits beside a hard crystalline Parmesan and a selection of seeded crackers. The textures on the plate are as important as the flavors. A rustic bread on a smooth wooden board. A smooth sauce beside something seared and caramelized. These contrasts make each element more distinct, more memorable, more satisfying than any one of them would be alone. There's also a texture to the evening itself. The bright energy of arrival, the focused intimacy of dinner, the relaxed ease of coffee and conversation afterward. A thoughtful host understands that an evening, like a room or an outfit, needs variation to feel alive. The shift between those moments, the way the atmosphere deepens and softens as the night moves on, is its own kind of composition. Texture at the table is not just what you set out, it's the experience you compose. Area 4, texture and how you communicate. Once you begin to see texture as a principle rather than a material quality, something shifts. You start to notice it in places that have nothing to do with surfaces. A voice that holds a single register, no variation in pace, no shift in volume, no moments of quiet, is hard to stay with. Not because it's unpleasant, but because it offers nothing to discover. A good speaker understands this intuitively. She varies her pace, slowing to let something land, moving forward when momentum matters. She uses silence deliberately. She knows when to speak softly enough that the room has to lean in and when to let her voice carry weight and clarity. The same is true of conversation itself. A truly interesting exchange has texture, moments of depth and moments of lightness, questions that open space alongside observations that close it gently. It moves, it breathes, it offers the other person something to respond to rather than simply something to receive. Communication without textual variation is flat in exactly the same way a room or an outfit can be flat. Technically correct, but forgettable. Your voice is an instrument of presence. How you use it is a choice. Elegance is often described as something you either have or don't, an indefinable quality that some people simply possess and others spend years trying to develop. I don't think that's accurate. Elegance is a practice of composition. It's the deliberate decision to bring depth, variation, and contrast to whatever you're creating, whether it's an outfit, a room, a gathering, or a conversation. It rewards attention because it was built with attention. It feels rich because it is rich, not in cost, but in the quality of the thought behind it. Texture is the element that makes that richness possible. Rough beside smooth, matte beside glossy, fluid beside structured. Once you see it, it becomes one of the most reliable tools available to you in most every area of life, at every budget, in every season. It costs nothing to understand and everything to ignore. Elegance isn't a mystery. It's a composition, and texture is the place you build it. I'd love to know, where do you already use texture intuitively in your life, and where do you think you might want to bring more of it? Please share with me in the comments. I enjoy hearing your thoughts and your stories. If this resonated with you, please like the video and consider subscribing. It helps other women find content that might be meaningful for them too. Until next time, my graceful friends.